Hey guys, I'm Joseph Tranum with Precision Delta Law Enforcement. We're out on the range today to take a quick look at a couple of rifle rounds that we carry that are in use quite prevalently throughout the law enforcement community. We're going to be taking a look at two duty rounds, a 64 grain Winchester bonded bullet, SKU number RA556B, and then a non-bonded 64 grain bullet, SKU number RA223R2. And then we're also going to throw in a 55 grain full metal jacket, just training round, SKU number Q3131. It's a Winchester round, white box, and we're just going to throw it in there just as a baseline of what a target round does compared to a duty round. So as you can see behind me, we've got the gel station set up. We've got a block up there off camera just due to the time constraints. We qualified the gel. We do use 10% organic gel. We mix it up. And then we have coolers and we cool it, and then we shoot a BB into it, 590 feet per second, plus or minus 15 feet per second, and then we want that BB to go no more than 3.74 inches. So the BB's already in there. We're at 3.4 inches. We're at 39 degrees on the temperature, so we've got a pretty good window right now to get some really good ballistic results. So we're going to turn this camera off and flip the frames around, and we're gonna get to shooting. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and take this shot. We're gonna do 3 shots. First shot's a 64 grain bonded. Second shot's a 64 grain non-bonded, and third shot is going to be the full metal jacket, 55 grain. So. Good. All right, third shot's going to be the 55 grain full metal jacket. All right, let's go take a look. All right, so here is our bonded bullet. Looks like we are right at 16 inches to the end of the wound channel. Now let's go over to the 64 grain non-bonded. This is really where you see the difference. So we have no recoverable sized fragments. So we've got about a 6-inch fragmentation permanent wound channel, but no actual recoverable mass of the bullet can be found. So this is the 64 grain non-bonded. Let's see if I can get you in there to see the differences. So here is right here your 64 grain bonded. Really good straight line penetration. Bullets ending right here at the 16 mark compared to the wound channel right here. So if you're penetrating Autoglass and you're trying to get deep into that passenger compartment, the 64 grain non-bonded bullet is not a good option. It's a really good, what we believe, as an all-around bullet or cartridge choice if you're not concerned about Autoglass performance. So what we look at is that's a really good just general purpose patrol round. But when you're talking about penetrating Autoglass with that round, your handgun is going to be a better option for defeating that barrier. So let's flip this block over and take a look at and see if we can find that 55 grain full metal jacket, because sometimes those 55 grain full metal jackets get pretty squirrely, and sometimes you can't even find a piece of them. Alright, so as I suspected, we did not have any recoverable mass of that 55 grain full metal jacket. So because here is the wound channel right here. Here's the wound channel right here for that 55 grain full metal jacket. It's almost identical to that 64 grain non-bonded. So let's see if we can just play operation and root around in there and see if we can find something to dig out. Well, there's a chunk right there. That looks like it's off the 64 grain. We've got a couple of little fragments of jacket. What that full metal jacket does is that boat tail with that cantilever, is a lot of times when it hits that gel block, it has a tendency to bend at the cantilever, and then it'll actually break in half. And then by the time it hits the actual gel, it's going sideways. And so when it hits, it just fragments. And really you're left with, with a wound channel that's much similar to a ballistic tip than anything else. So let's go in and grab this bonded bullet. There we get it. I'm gonna have to go in the back side. I'm having to hold this gel block to keep it from falling down. So, all right. So, and here, right here, is our gel block. So, 64 grain non-bonded, 55 grain full metal jacket, and a 64 grain bonded. So let's just take so we got wound channels all the way down to here. Here's where we dug it out. Up here, here's your 64 grain non-bonded, 55 grain full metal jacket. Very little terminal performance through Autoglass. So if you're actually trying to defeat that passenger compartment, someone in a big person in a front seat with their seat all the way back or into the back of the back seat, or even just trying to, if you're using your own car as protection and trying to defeat a barrier and get all the way through the front and the rear windscreen. So here's our recovered projectiles, 64 grain bonded bullet right here. I hadn't weighed that, but it's probably going to be right around that 55 grain, 55 grain range for recovered retained weight. And this little fragment here was for the 64 grain non-bonded. It's not much there. I mean, maybe 10, 15 grains recoverable weight. And these two little fragments right here, that's for your 55 grain full metal jacket. Nothing's left in there. So, is it going to hurt? Definitely. I don't want to get in front of any bullet that's going through a windshield. But if you're not carrying a bonded bullet, your handgun is doing a better performance in defeating laminated Autoglass.